Hey, how are you? I am Chris Robin, aka at Detroit Beastie, here with Fantasy Six Pack to talk about Monday Night Football. And boy, oh boy, will we have some sort of battle, an aerial show as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers head west to Kansas City to battle Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. As it stands, over under around 45.5 points. Kansas City minus 9.5 right now. I could see it even being bumped up to 10 or more by the time kickoff comes around at 8:15 p.m. The AFC West versus the NFC South. And as we know, Kansas City 7-0. That would make them first overall in the West, AFC West, as Tampa Bay 4-4. Even right there, 4-4. They are second overall in the NFC South. Fantastic divisional battles happening all over the NFC, and what a wild week 9 it's been. And this is the perfect way to put a big smack dab exclamation point on the whole deal. Saquon Barkley, the backwards leapfrog, Garrett Wilson's catch on Thursday night, and all the guys scoring touchdowns and standing on their heads. It's a sneaky touchdown celebration that kind of came out of nowhere from a high school kid, and here we go. Everything moves so fast when it's professional sports. Before I get into this game here, final score, some recent betting trends. Again, I built 4 or 5 lineups. I'll share those with you as well, and which way I'm leaning in terms of the final score and how we're going to bet on that sucker. KC minus 9.5, Tampa Bay plus 10. What are we going to do here? Make sure you get to the website at fantasy6pack.net. When you get there, look around, tag me, tag Joe, tag Keith, tag anybody you want. Tag until your heart's content, but make sure you leave having looked around enough and making sure that this is the website for you. It's such a fantastic site, right? On the eve of the presidential election, I can use a lot of big adjectives like the one nominee. It's a fantastic website, outstanding stuff. If you want to get in on all the lovely DFS stuff or the sports betting or the seasonal dynasty stuff, this is the website for you. When we transition back to this football game, as I said, Tampa Bay is at Kansas City. Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. We know what the Kansas City Chiefs bring to the table. Back-to-back Super Bowl champions. I almost said Stanley Cup champions. Guy got the Wings hat on, and I'm diving headfirst into hockey, my favorite sport. What can I say? But Kansas City 7-0. They've been fantastic. Now, I wouldn't say like dominant to a degree where it's like they're the clear-cut going to coast to a three-peat in the Super Bowl. But right now, everything looks that way. You're undefeated. You're running roughshod over the AFC and in the NFC in certain spots, more than likely tonight as well. And on the flip side, Tampa Bay 4-4. They got a massive win in Detroit a few weeks back, and now it's been, I don't want to say it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but Baker Mayfield is finding himself, reestablishing himself as, a high-end first overall draft pick all them years back. And what are we going to get tonight? That's what everybody wants to know. And I've talked nonsense, hot air for 3.5 minutes. So let's dig into this sucker, right? You got Mahomes and Baker Mayfield at quarterback. Again, I'm going to go through it. I got like 7 or 8 guys I want to talk about. Long over are the days where I comb through every player, even the third string tight ends and the backup kickers and the emergency quarterbacks just in case. No. We're not going to do that anymore. We're going over 5, 6 guys, maybe 8 to 9 in about 10 minutes, and this is what I'm doing, and boom, it's stamped with my approval, and we'll move on. But Patrick Mahomes against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are dead last, 32nd overall against opposing quarterbacks, 22 to 23 completions, 260 yards. I have another multi-touchdown game for Mahomes, 2 passes and 4 to 5 carries for 30 yards. When you look at Mahomes, he had multiple touchdown passes last week, and that was the first time he's done so since week 3. So if you want to follow the news on social media, people can make any graphics they want. If you want to cut Patrick Mahomes in seasonal formats, have at it. But in DFS formats, he's a very high likely of being phenomenal tonight. When you look at Tampa Bay, they're in the bottom 5 in passing yards a game, and also bottom 5 in passing touchdowns. So to me, Mahomes going to have one of those vintage Patrick Mahomes kind of games where he throws for multiple touchdowns. Maybe he'll run one in, so you're looking at 3 total, and we'll go from there. Baker Mayfield It wasn't in my initial build, but again, in the video, there's only two quarterbacks, so it would be of great importance to talk about both of them, right? When you look at Baker in Kansas City, KC 17th overall against opposing quarterbacks, 23 to 24 completions, 250 yards, 2 touchdown passes as well, and I think he's going to take off 4 or 5 times for around 10 to 15 yards. Baker's working on 3. He actually not work. He already has. He's got 3 straight games of 300 or more passing yards in a row. Tonight could be 4. Does he get over that hump? I think we're going to fall 30, 40 yards shy in that endeavor. But hey, when we look at the running backs here, there's only 3 guys on my list, right? Kareem Hunt, Rashad White, and Bucky Irvin. In my lineups, there's only 2, Kareem Hunt and the rookie Bucky Irvin, who is questionable, but it looks, by all means, it looks like Bucky's going to play. Let's start with him. Screw it. KC, first overall against opposing running backs, but you're going to have Rashad White kind of, I hate the term, this guy's going to soften up the defense so the other guy can come in and completely pound him down. A good defense is a good defense regardless of what you throw at it. But in a way, Rashad White, 8-9 carries, 25 yards, 4 to 5 receptions, 30 to 35 yards. And then Bucky can come in with double-digit carries, around 9 or 10 for 30 to 35 yards, plus 2 to 3 receptions for another 15 to 20 yards. And what I have here in my notes, right, Rashad White, in his second or third season, if I'm not mistaken, he's been Tampa Bay's RB1. He was that for sure last season, and we're already 8-9 games into the season, and he's not that all-purpose slam dunk RB1 we thought he was. But tonight could be the case where it is all of this, adulation, Bucky Irving being the legit RB1 in Tampa Bay. Is any of that, does it come to fruition? I don't know, but tonight we're going to see. They're going to give him a ton of work, and we'll see where it ends, where we go from there. When you look at Kareem Hunt, I'll keep it simple. 16, 17 carries, 80 yards, a touchdown on the ground. He's an absolute touchdown monger. That's a no-brainer for an anytime touchdown bet. Get Kareem in there. I'm going to fast forward to tight ends because I'm going to spend maybe a few extra minutes more than I should on wide receivers. But hey, at least I'm being honest, upfront and honest with my intentions here. It's Travis Kelce and Cade Otton. Which way are you going to go? Why even fool around with deciding? Let's let's put both of them in our lineups. Travis against Tampa. They're 27th overall against tight ends. Looking at 7-8 targets, 6 to 7 receptions, 60 yards, and a touchdown reception. And look, when you look at Kelce, he's not washed. He's not an old man schlub. He's had at least 9 targets in 3 of the last 4 games. Over that same stretch, that 4-game stretch, 30 receptions for 266 yards and a touchdown reception over the same 4. That's a fantastic stat line, going a ton of momentum, as one would say, leading up to Monday Night Football. When we look at Cade Otton, he's been just as phenomenal, but tonight, 6 to 7 targets, 5 to 6 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown reception himself. And when you look over Cade's last 2 games, 17 catches, 181 yards, and 2 touchdown receptions. Both of those scores having occurred last week. Kansas City Chiefs are the only DST I'm looking at tonight. 3 to 4 sacks, an interception, and the points against are going to be lower than expected. I have them around anywhere between 17 to 20. That 3-point difference isn't really going to be. Would it be that big of a difference between winning a ton of dough and not even cashing? I don't think so, but hey, give me the Chiefs on a sack spree and some sort of turnover, 1 or 2 turnovers, something like that. And then when we look at the kickers, it's all about Harrison Butker. The chances are going to be phenomenal. All of his chances, they're going to be very appropriate and very voluminous, if I could say. 3 for 3 XPs, 2 for 2 field goals. Maybe he goes 3 for 3 extra points, 3 for 3 field goals, and we can live with that. Tampa Bay, 23rd overall against opposing kickers. If you care, let's get to wide receivers, get some recent betting trends, and we'll get the heck out of here. The only bummer for Tampa Bay is the health or lack thereof of their 2 stud wide receivers, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. But again, in football, that next man up attitude is rightfully so, given what you do or you don't have. So when you look at Tampa Bay, Jalen McMillan looks to be the de facto wide receiver 1 for Tampa Bay. Trey Palmer's going to be sprinkled in a ton of my lineups. or all three of these guys, the third one being Rakim Jarrett, who, to be fair, first time I heard of him was last week, and I wrote down a little note, scribbled in bottom of the barrel last week to keep an eye on him for the Monday Night Football single slate game video. Right now, Kansas City 9th overall against opposing wide receivers, and the lovely thing about Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield here is they're all volume plays, right? Tampa Bay, more than likely, they're going to be down double digits at some point. Is it earlier rather than later? We shall see. But Baker is going to attempt a whole heck of a lot of passes. As I said, I have him completing 23 or 24 passes. But Jalen McMillan, 5-6 targets, 3 to 4 receptions, 50 yards there. His arrow is definitely, going up. Trey Palmer as well, 4 to 5 targets, 3 to 4 receptions, 30 to 35 yards. Arrow heading up in the right direction. And Rakim Jarrett could be a sneaky kind of wide receiver. And in my notes, I put, what I have for is 2 to 3 targets, 2 to 3 receptions, 20 plus yards, ? And then I in my notes, I wrote, do you trust me? Fingers crossed that you'll trust me. And we'll see what we get from Rakim Jarrett in a single game slate. I've made a lot more hay on some less whacked out players or ideas. So to me, McMillan, Palmer, Rakim Jarrett, all in this, could be maybe in the same lineup with Baker Mayfield, might be a little bit too much Tampa. Pick 2 of the wide receivers. You put Baker in there, and the run back could be Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce, DeAndre Hopkins, something like that. And speaking of Hopkins and Worthy, let's talk about them briefly coming up on 12 minutes or so. Xavier Worthy, who would have known? You give the kid more volume and you're going to get much better results. But hey, Xavier, 5 touchdowns already. It's a beautiful thing for the rookie. Tonight, 5-6 targets, 4 to 5 receptions, 55 to 60 yards. And we know we're going to get a carry or two, some sort of Andy Reid trickery. And we're looking at another 10 yards. So realistically, maybe the floor for Xavier Worthy tonight is around 50 to 60 yards. If one of those, carries or pitches, something like that is inside, they're way down on the other side. They're in Kansas City's in their own, neck of the woods. And one of those single passes goes 60 yards, 70 yards. Worthy takes it to the house for a touchdown and boom, just shatters every projection we had for him. Fingers crossed, given him and his speed and what he can do, that is, anybody else, you'd say that's highly unlikely for a 70-yard touchdown house call or however you want to put it. But if anybody can do it tonight, it's Xavier Worthy. Do you trust me? ? So stupid. When you look at DeAndre Hopkins, finally, this is going to be, his second game as a Chief. I think he's going to start to open up a little bit more. Therefore, Mahomes is going to, fling the ball to him in more frequent areas or more frequency, something like that. This isn't a ham radio, but hey, DeAndre Hopkins should get the ball a little bit more than he has in the previous weeks as he gets more comfortable with the offense here. 6 to 7 targets, 4 to 5 receptions, 50 yards. And if there's ever a case to be made for Hopkins, the 30-plus-year-old Hopkins to break out as a Chief, it's tonight against Tampa Bay, who ranks in the bottom 6th in giving up catches and yards allowed to wide receivers. And the Kansas City DST, did I tell you this already? I don't think so. Kansas City's defense is 5th overall. They're only allowing 17.6 points a game. So to me, Kansas City wins this one comfortably, 31 to 17. Therefore, taking Kansas City minus 9.5 would be a smart move. My final score, I have them winning by 14. So if you wanted to get a little bit, zesty and take Kansas City minus 10, minus 12.5, have at it. I think it will come to fruition. So give me Kansas City to win this one, 31 to 17. Patrick Mahomes with a pair of touchdowns, Travis Kelce with a touchdown, and Kareem Hunt has always found the end zone since rejoining the Kansas City Chiefs. Be good, be safe, and I will see you again for Thursday Night Football. Hopefully Week 9 was everything you could have expected, and your seasonal fantasy dreams have come true. And let's make it sure that their DFS dreams come true as well tonight. See you later. Kansas City wins 31-17. Bye-bye.